back to the channel. It is kellyneshell. Today we'll be talking about traumatic breakups, and joining me today on the call I have Sasha and Sharika. Now ladies, let's get into this topic. I know it's kind of it's not a pleasant thing to talk about, but I feel like we need to talk about it because a lot of us been through it, both men and women. So I think it's something that we should talk about and get comfortable talking about. A lot of us go through breakups, but not all of them are traumatic. But you do have that one or two breakup that cause you to stop and like, this one hurt a lot. You know what I mean? And with traumatic breakups, I feel like when we go through these breakups, sometimes it's so overwhelming and a lot of people take it for granted. Like, some people don't understand what you're going through, but in your case, it's so traumatic that you feel like parts of you died. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When I think about traumatic breakup, and maybe I'm looking in it too deep, because you know, sometimes, you know me, I could go down that hole, that rabbit hole. But for me, a lot of people don't understand when you go through a traumatic breakup that, you know, you need time to mourn. Because to me, it's like a loss. You lost something. This was a part of you that seemed to die. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you need that mourning period. Like, you go through a phase of mourning, and if I'm wrong, you guys can tell me. Like, have you ever experienced that? Like, after a traumatic event or a traumatic breakup, you go through this period, like you feel like you're mourning, and I feel like we don't give ourselves grace to mourn the period, because it's actually a loss. You know, it's like a loss, and a lot of people don't understand. It's like a death. I don't want to put it as being so dramatic as death, but you do go through a mourning period. And what I realize is that a lot of people tend to want to put a time on the time that you heal from this loss.
Yeah.
So the mourning period
as well.
Right. The mourning period, there's no hard and fast rules to say that, okay, all right, I'm gonna be out for a month, you know what I mean? But after this month done, I'm gonna be back on my A game. It don't work like that. You have to give yourself time to process what you've been through, especially if you were in the severity of the trauma that you took from that relationship, or how long you've been in this or that, how long you've been in the relationship.
Yeah, but what about, like, to not, a lot of the times I think we also don't allow ourselves to grieve and to, you know, go through the pain and the hurt because we don't want to feel that way, right? So we might try to jump in another relationship with somebody to kind of, like, you know, cover it up a little bit so you don't have to deal with it. And it's kind of like a cycle again, because you're never at a space where you're dealing with it. You're just into these different relationships to cover your pain.
Right. So it's like, because of the trauma that you endured and you did not properly give yourself time to heal from the previous relationship, you're jumping into something else, and so the cycle of trauma continues, right? It repeats itself.
Yep. And you keep get bumping into the same issues in your relationships where it's always traumatic for you because you haven't healed, given yourself to heal, and, you know, think about the process, think about why did this happen, how can I prevent this from happening again. Instead we just you know, cover it.
And I feel like that this all comes back to the whole idea that I'm a strong woman, we gotta be strong, you know what I mean? Fix your crown, sis. I'm not like, I'm allowed to go through something, I'm allowed to feel pain, you understand? I'm allowed to take my time, but because I feel like we're in a society where the facade of being a strong woman, strong, quote unquote, for us, strong black woman, but it's not only for black women, but it goes for people in general. But I'm just using that example, you understand? We're forced to be, I'm sorry,
we don't give ourselves time to feel. We don't let ourselves feel the pain that we're going through.
Yeah, we don't. And with for me, with a traumatic relationship, they're triggers. They're always triggers, or they were triggers. Like, even after you come out of the relationship, there are triggers, and the triggers can show up in a whole host of things. Sometimes it has nothing to do with what you're actually doing now, but because, for example, a song could be a trigger. You understand? It brings you back to that place where, you know, I don't even know how to explain it, but there's so much triggers. And with the triggers, I feel like either we're gonna deal with them head on, or we give ourselves time. For me, when I was going through my traumatic experience, because I've been through a traumatic breakup where I had to distance myself from everything and everyone associated with the relationship. You understand? Because those were triggers, and it brought me back to feeling bad, feeling low. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even like for social media, I had to do a social media cleanse, because that in itself will drive you nuts. That in itself will make you feel like it keeps bringing you back. So each time you try to move forward, it brings you back, because you're stuck into the triggers keep putting you back in that place where you were. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think doing that, because when you break up with somebody, right, it takes, and that's why, like you said, it's good to break away, whatever you need to do to, like, break away from that person and whoever, you know, that's whoever else that's associated with them. It's important to do that, because you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna continue to relive that trauma of you feeling sad, or you want to go back to them, or, you know, it's like this back and forth, constant back and forth.
Yeah. And what I want people to understand, like, if you are a bystander in this, say for example you're a friend of one of the significant other, you're a family member, it's not personal. You've got to realize that it's not personal, but whomever steps away, that person needs to give themselves time to deal with their situation. They can't be thinking about whether or not I'm going to be hurting this person's feelings. You just got to do a clean break, if that's what it takes, to make sure you're focusing on you. And I feel like for me, or, well, let me not be personal about it.
But when you go through a breakup, or when you, like, okay, you break up with somebody, you feel bad. You feel, I don't know, I guess, you feel like it's something you shouldn't be doing, because you feel guilty about it.
It can be very traumatic when you separate, especially when you build your life around the other person. You know what I mean? So it's like you're not separate entities, you're one, because everything is so intertwined. Your friends are intertwined, your social circle, whatever you do, things you normally do, you don't do nothing really by yourself, you know? So it's like it's much harder to separate yourself.
It is. I was gonna say, you feel guilty, right, when you leave situations like that, and it's like, it's easy for you to not feel that hurt and not feel that guilt. It's easier for you to go back into it, you know, than to just break away. So that's why it's so good, like you said, to, like, kind of, you know, cut ties a little bit with whoever that's associated, that's associated with your partner. Take a break from them. Take a break from social media, so that way it's not constantly in your face.
Yeah.
You know?
Because the in your face part is the part, I believe, that drive you nuts, because you're constantly, even though you act like you're not doing, you try to take a look, and then that person probably putting on a facade of having a good time, and you're like, oh my god, how quickly
Yep.
you moved on, how quickly. So what we had meant nothing to you all this time, you know what I mean? So you start questioning yourself, was this happening while we were together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's best, in my opinion, to just step away from social media, cut ties if you have to cut ties. And these ties, what I want you to understand, these ties don't have to be permanent. Some people feel like you have to cut ties and it has to be permanent, but it don't have to be permanent. It can be just...
No.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. You're right. You're absolutely right. When I went through my breakup, I had to cut ties for a while, because when you first break up with somebody, it's like uncomfortable to even be in the same spaces. Like everything is just weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I had to it was really bad. I had to cut ties with him and his family for a while, until I'm back at a space where I'm comfortable enough to maybe I guess have a conversation with the person without being aggressive or you know,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
Because you feel sometimes, yeah, because that aggression will come through, because you don't have time, because you're still hurt. You're still feeling like, yo,
yeah,
you know, we should be in this position. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, because in a breakup, I'm gonna say it's not my fault. The other person is gonna say, you know what, it's your fault. So whoever fault is it,
yeah,
you know, you just gotta step back. You gotta pivot. Give yourself time to pivot and find yourself.
It usually works out better that way, because you never know. You become friends with them after in some situation, you become friends with them after a while too. You needed that space to kind of think for yourself.
So what happened if you don't want to become?
No, you don't have to. And that's one of the things I'm saying.
Once I'm done, once I'm done, if I will say hi, if I run into you, I will say hi, because that's natural. We say hi, it's respect. But I mean, you just like the friendship. I don't want your friendship. That's it. But I'm nothing against. I wish you all the best. I don't want your friendship. That's
for
just
me.
me. I don't know.
It depends. Nadine was saying, it depends on the situation. There are some situations that you just don't. You're right. You just don't want to be. You're done. Once you're done, you're done. You don't care to call, to talk to them, nothing. But then you also have those other relationships where even after everything, for some reason, somehow you guys became friends. Sometimes you do have that, but it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the person.
It depends.
It depends on the situation.
It depends from what I think. It depends on the situation, and it depends on what closure looks like to you. You understand, as an individual.
Yeah.
So for me, closure might mean I need to step away. I need to heal myself, and then we might be able to talk. Me, I have to tell you why I'm hurt. Some people don't need to do that. But for me, on a personal level, I need to let you know what? This is how I'm feeling. I have to be, that's just me. That's how I am. I have to express that. But not everybody's like that. Some people just want a clean break, as you said. You understand what I'm saying, Sasha? So there's no one way or one right way for people that's been through stuff to process it and to heal and to move on. There's no one way. So and this is why some people can't understand why, okay, you break up with somebody, why do you need to still talk to them? You understand? Because in their eyes, once they're done, they're done. There's no talking to, there's no going back. While the other person might be, you know what, I need a break from you to process my feeling and to heal, but I can still have a conversation with you. We could even still be friends after the fact, but I need that time to heal me, to deal with me. You understand?
Yeah. I think it also depends on the situation, but I think it depends on the connection as far as, I guess, friendship, if that makes sense.
Explain.
So if you guys, without all the other craziness of why you can't be in a relationship with that person anymore, maybe you guys are better friends than being in a relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Some persons do set up a friendship, relationship has come to an end. And some persons like me, I don't want any type of friendship from you. It's not like I have something against you. I will say hi, hello when we run into each other. I still wish you the best, but you can't have I don't want you to have certain access to me where friendship is concerned. When I say friendship, remember say you're the person that relate to each other. You understand, link up and them something there. Talk good and them things there. I don't need that type of energy there. If I am by you, I'm an associate, that's fine. So I will put you in the associate category. But you cannot be my friend.
Okay.
I got it.
For me, you don't can't be my friend.
Yeah, and it's like that for some people. It's like that, and that's quite fine.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Don't want you to be my friend. Yeah, because some of them, because through them might know so they didn't really love them. They take it friend, let them want to use as a pawn, and if you're still weak and you not get over it, because some of them might tell us to over it and we are not. You understand? And them themselves might use that as a weakness to draw in, but just to break it all over again.
True.
So if you're doing something, you do something right. You just cut them right off. They can't say hi and bye. Wish them all the best, but that's it. Don't give them certain access. They don't need their friendship. Bye.
I think that
understand? So that's just
I get
right. I am coming from. I think that also comes from you guys you put in that conversation, you putting it out there like, listen, that's not happening anymore. Like, relationship wise, we're done. So they know that, so they don't cross that line with you anymore, because that part, it's over.
Yes.
But I get where you're coming from. Absolutely.
I definitely get what you were saying about cutting, severing ties and all that. So I definitely agree with that. Let's talk about the shame that's associated with a breakup. Do you guys feel like there's a sense of shame after a breakup occurs?
I'm speaking after my experience. When you're going to a relationship, your expectation is you have a level of expectation. So, especially when both of you are on the same level where love is concerned and you're working towards your goal, something happened, tear it apart, you both have to go separate ways. It depends on how it happened, but I'm speaking from my experience. I wasn't ashamed. I was mostly like hurt. I was a bit depressed because, especially when you're a person that's been coming for years, and you wanted, like, you don't know how it happened. You never know, so a person could have just like something could have just like just come and just grab something from your mouth just like that. You understand? And it's like the person wasn't showing enough more emotional support where you were concerned. And it's like every day it just hurt more and more. And first I couldn't speak about it, so maybe that is how shame would have come in, because I couldn't bring myself to let the other persons know how I was being treated.
Yeah.
And what was happening with my relationship, because yes, I do have a best friend and I do have families, because I don't do lots of friends. I'm a type of person who is like me, lots of associates, but my friends are very few. And you can't bring yourself to say, say this, that man, that happened. So that is where the shame would have coming for me. But like, no, I can speak about it. because I've been healed about it. So I really don't know if that is enough to explain what I went through where shame is concerned. I couldn't speak about it because I was still hurt and I couldn't let nobody know what I've been going through because it's too hurtful for talk about it. And people might say, Lord, so she really got through that. And you know, they look away there.
Yeah.
And I said, question nice because she got through them, but then no, so that she's sick from. You know, shame me no want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But no, I can't speak about it because you never might know, somebody might be going through what you went through, and maybe your experience can help pull them out. So I can't say that I'm ill because I can speak and feel anyway towards it. So that's how I would explain that session.
Yeah. Sharika?
Yeah. For me, it would be shame, yes, because I wouldn't disclose. If I were to tell somebody with my breakup, when I spoke about it, I didn't disclose all the details as to why things really happened, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, you don't want to be judged. You don't want people to talk about you and say things about you.
Yeah.
You know, so you keep certain things. You don't disclose every single detail of why the relationship didn't work out. You kind of kept some of the details. So that's how I would view shame.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
For me, I went through a period of feeling as though not good enough. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I don't know how this became a thing, but I can say I went through a period where I felt like I wasn't good enough. Then because I start feeling that way, the self-deprecating thoughts start coming through. You know what I mean? Maybe if I was more like this, or maybe if I was more like that. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, it was shame. It was shame, and it was shameful because for me, I was in a relationship for a long time, and everybody used to look up to this relationship as though it was goals, you know what I mean? And then when it ends, it's like, dang, now everybody looking at you, what happened? What happened? What happened? Me never know, say, you know? So it's like you can't, and then you don't want to disclose it because one, you don't want to look worse than how you look, and then you know, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. You don't want to feel worse because you feel like telling people anyway. They're not gonna help you. They're probably just gonna talk about you anyway.
Yeah, and they just want to know what really happened. They just want to know the details of your relationship. And for me, I've always said that, like, my relationships, they were private between me and the individuals. You know, because whomever I'm in a relationship with, it's private. But I'm not going to go out there and I'm not going to tell everybody my business. But, you know, you still need to talk. I would encourage anybody going through that. You still need to talk. You have to find that one person that, you know, you could talk. And then it all comes back to, for me now, I have, first, when it just happened, I had two really close friends, really close friends. They're like my close friends, right? But when we talk about it, they would encourage me and they'll tell me, you know what, you gotta move on, you can't look on yourself that way. And I can call their Navia and Tara, but it was not until they were there for me and they encouraged me throughout the situation. But it was not until my other friend Adele, because she was new to the picture, so she didn't know nobody, none of us in the relationship. She put certain things into perspective. So you've got to talk to people, you know? Talk to your friend. I'm not saying you go out there and you tell everybody your business, John public your business, but you have to have at least people in your circle that you could definitely, and I'm not saying these are the only 3 individuals that helped me through the situation or helped me put certain things into perspective, but these 3 ladies were really there for me. You understand?
Yeah.
in a
You're
way.
right. It's important to have someone that you could talk to, like you said, because a lot of the times people don't really tell, their friends stuff or people their businesses, because when you tell somebody, okay, this is what's going on, blah blah blah, they tend to sort of have a negative response to what you're saying, not in a sense, and they think they're like, they're not, they don't think they're offending you in any way or making you feel worse than you already feel, right, about the situation. And I think a lot of times people don't pay attention to that, because it's kind of like, if you talk about, you talk about my partner or whatever, whoever I was with, I feel like you're talking about me too, because I was in this situation with this person, and so I feel like a lot of the times people have negative things to say instead of being positive. Like you said, your friends had positive outlook on the situation, to help you through it. And that's a lot of the time, that's why you don't want to open up to people, because instead of being encouraging towards you, they're more focused on the negatives.
Exactly.
Why? And I told you so. Or
so they start dumping and heaping things on, and then you get to really see what a person thought about you while you were in the relationship. And it's funny, sometimes it's the same people that was kicking it with you and kikiing with both of you that have the most things to say after the breakup.
Yeah. So I think it's very
one of the hardest things where shame is concerned is when you invest social media relationship. Basically, you post everything.
Oh yes.
Pictures, everything, videos, everything, and they have friends who are friends with you on the media. And then when the guys break up, you unfriend him or her, but at the same time, you can't unfriend his mutual friend or your mutual friends. For example, suppose him reaching a relationship before you, and him a tag feed for him, you might see it and get hurt, so you have to disappear for a while. But for me, persons always say that some person who don't really know me like that, persons always say I'm sneaking. But me, I'm a private person. I always say that person, I've been on social media for over 10 years, and I've never put a picture with a partner. Never. And I will never do it unless I am married. Because at least I'm married. If some people go for divorce or divorce, but I don't think I can do that, because listen, people change every day.
Yep.
And what I'm not really saying I'm using a person's fact to transfer another person's fact, but listen, what I went through, I didn't even know I could win. I didn't even know someone could be that heartless and evil. I'm being honest. Understand? And for me, I'm not going to post. I'd rather post it on my WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is more private. But to do the Instagram and the Facebook, no. I will not post I'm in a relationship and my thing, and my whoever they can I'm in a relationship. But for me to post videos and everybody in my relationship, because listen, when it don't work out, you have to take yourself off. Even though what people might say, I'm not busy with people, I can't do it more, to take myself off and come again. No, you have to take yourself off. I think we should know exactly what they are doing, because at the same time, shame comes this one.
Yeah.
Because you have to take off yourself, because especially to the person in a new relationship, like you can't deal with it. Some person, it is so extreme that they think suicidal thoughts. I'm telling you, a person out there that cannot deal with it. They don't understand it, mess up their mentality, they mess them up emotionally, and it's not because they are weak. And person tend to think that first, get over the boy, get over the girl. No, you can't tell someone how to grieve. You're not in the person's shoes.
Yeah.
Everybody reacts to pain differently. It's not right for you to just get up and tell a person to snap out of it.
Yes.
You do not know what's happening. And this is what I was when Sherika said sometimes from childhood. Sometimes you might be looking for love and end up in the wrong relationship. And because that person show you a type of love, you're itching on the person. So when the person show you them ring colors, it's like it does make you shut down, like you can't believe it. Because when you go through your childhood, and you finally think you find love and this is a happy ending. Little you didn't know, I say, Maka go juke you. You start bleed. You understand that everybody else will just like some people use the rope, suicidal, them overdose. There's a lot of pain when breakup is concerned.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the mentality and the emotional part. It's not easy.
Yes. And I feel like I find it very dismissive that people want to tell you, get out of it, snap out of it. It's not that easy.
Exactly.
It's not that easy.
No, it's not. It's easier said than done. And then, like you said, with social media, everybody posting their relationships and posting this, like it's better roses and everything is all great. And it plays on you. Because you're like, hey, well, why,
I feel like social media relationships, and for me, like on my maybe if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see my husband. Yes, I've definitely shared my husband on my Facebook page, but sporadically, once in every blue moon. You understand? And it's not because I don't want to. It's because I'm so guarded as it relates to this relationship that I'm in. I am so protective of it. So it's not important for me to say happy birthday to him on social media. It's not important for me to say, you know, this, that, and the third on social media. We both had birthdays recently, and I never posted anything about him. And it's not that it takes away from my love for him. You understand? But it's just not, I don't need social media in my business. I've never posted my husband on Instagram. Never. And that is not because...
That's just from me, you know, folks. Because I can't tell a person, oh, don't post a partner, because everybody expects them to be different. Yeah, and I would never tell a person that to post them partner. But for me, for myself, I will never post my partner unless we are married. I'm not going to do it every day. You understand? I'm highlighting the person so that I'm taken, I'm married, I'm happily married. But do all of them stuff there unless I am married, And as I said, I know social media never have that kind of story there. Because you have some person, their life is, their relationship is on social media. So when the breakup comes, they don't know how to deal with it. So they kill themselves, set themselves from feeling the shame. They have to take off themselves off of social media. They live for the media.
Yeah.
They live for the media. They live better for the media than how they live in a real life.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that's true.
This is not me saying you can't post your relationship. This is just me saying it's not for me. It's not for me. And yes, I do post, but the online relationship, I gotta put it out there for everybody to see. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but is that most important? I don't think so. I believe that the person-to-person relationship is where it's at. I also want to talk about how after coming out of relationships, how it can change a person. So for me, I was a very extroverted person, I could say. But I feel like after my relationship, the previous relationship that I was in ended, I became very introverted. I became very I don't want to say standoffish, but I became more withdrawn. I'm more guarded as it relates to whom I let in to my space, who I let into my, who that I allow to have access to me, basically. That's what that's how I feel like it changed me in a sense, where I'm no longer, I'm still outgoing, because you could say, Sharika, you know, I'm the front friend. I'm the friend that's always ready for a good time. But I feel like there are certain parts of me that I don't give access to people. And if I'm being honest, when I'm looking back, it probably stems from the fact that, you know, from my past relationship. And as Sasha said earlier, you know, relationship, it don't only affect people, it could affect you in a whole host of ways. It can be emotional, it can also manifest itself physically too, you know what I mean? Because you, for example, somebody that's been through something, they can have phobias now, relationship phobias, they can have panic attacks, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's why the whole idea of telling somebody snap out of it and move on is so dismissive. I find it so dismissive. from people. Like, I can't. I don't even have words to explain what I think about it.
But because it's not allowing you. They're not thinking that you need time to heal and to process the whole situation. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to tell them when you're standing on the outside looking in, it's easier for you to tell the person, oh, do this, do that, because you're not in that person's shoe.
Yeah. Let's talk about how past relationships affect present relationship. And how you're...
Oh my God. I'm just laughing.
I do wholeheartedly.
It's not a truth.
The truth?
Yeah, but I just have to laugh with love.
Yes. For me personally, I felt like my husband had to be who he is for our relationship to survive the turmoil. You know what I mean? Because this is what I want people to understand, not because you've gotten to a point where you can find yourself in a next relationship, that means you're fully healed. Not saying, and I want to make it clear, there's a difference between being over the person and being fully healed. You can be over the individual, but you're not healed, because healing it's within you. You understand? So you can be definitely over your ex, but you're not healed because you still have things within you that you have to deal with on a personal level that nobody else can do but you. And I feel like for me, if my husband was a different person, he would have been gone. Because I felt like I turned into this beast. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I felt hurt. I was hurt. I don't care about what nobody else feels. It's all about me. It's my way, my way, my way, my way, my way. You understand? So you bring all that hurt, all that unforgiveness, all that pain into your new relationship. And that is why a lot of relationships don't survive. The relationship outside of the previous relationship don't survive, because the individual that you're entering into a new relationship with, they're saying to themselves, where's all of this coming from? What is all of this? Yeah. So I feel like the person that you're going into,
I was saying, what about, because I think for me, because of my previous relationship, I met him when I was like 18, so I was very young, right? And so I feel like I haven't learned enough about relationships, so that's what I struggled with as far as after him and getting into other relationships. I felt like I still haven't learned enough because I was around this person all the time. That's all I knew. So for me, being with somebody else is like, there's just certain things like in a relationship that I just don't, I didn't get. Like, I didn't understand. And as I got older, I was like, wow, like I'm really inexperienced when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
So that was my take from that.
So what you're saying is that you've realized that, there's more or more to a relationship that you were used to.
Exactly. Yeah.
True.
Than what I thought it would be or should have been. Yeah. So there's definitely, that's what I've learned from that.
Okay.
I don't know if I will ever go back in a relationship like someone stupid, like someone, but honestly, I'm not looking. I've met up on persons who like ask me to give them a chance, but I have a child, and You know, when I'm one of the persons who are very scared where step parents are concerned, because trust me, it's real, abuse is real. So based on what I went through, I just tell myself that I'm going to just be all about me and my child. I don't know if down the line, God might say, listen, I'm sending someone to you, whether you like it, yes or no. But for me, I'm not looking. I'm definitely not looking. It's not because I'm bitter and because I'm saying that everyone is like my ex, no. Because I've been out of a relationship for years and I choose to stay by myself. So I know that I am here. You understand? I'm here. So I'm just staying by myself until I really, if God said, okay, I'm sending someone to you, that's fine. But for me, it's a no-no, right? Definitely a no-no. I'm out of a relationship for years, so I don't know what is going to happen around the clock. Anything can happen.
Okay.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, at least you know within yourself that you're not it's not something you're ready to
take on,
to get into, take on at this point in your life, right? You want to be all about you and your daughter, and that's okay. Like, and that's another thing that, you know, we always need to be in a relationship or with a man to I guess, I don't know, feel wanted by, you know, somebody else.
Yeah.
But you're doing the right thing.
And as I said,
right now you're getting to know yourself. You're learning yourself.
You know,
when that come around, you're like, okay, you know exactly what you want and what you don't want.
So true, because you took the time to know yourself, to find yourself. You know, for some people it's easier to move on and transition into another relationship, while for some it takes time. And as I said at the onset of this discussion, there's no set time, there's no set time to move on, to heal. And then there are some people who go through that little phase, quote unquote phase, that, you know, after a breakup, it's quite, I'm not gonna be, you see me, I'm not judging anybody. However, or whatever it takes for you to heal, that's what I want you to do as a person. And when I'm saying you, I'm not just talking to whoever is on the call with me. I'm talking generally speaking. If you're watching this and you feel like you've been through something, take your time. Do not rush it. Do not try to compare yourself to somebody else. And somebody else's healing process or grieving time might be shorter, it might be longer than yours. But just take time to focus on you, the individual, because at the end of the day, you know, you have to be the only one that look out for yourself. So I just want to say thank you, ladies, for joining me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on this call, this discussion with me. These are the discussion that we should be having, because at the end of the day, we have individuals, we have people out here hurting, going through things that we're all going through, or we all been through, but because it's so taboo to talk about that, we don't talk about it. So I just want to say thank you for joining me, and I hope your day is as wonderful as you are.